Chapter 4130. That's impossible. As soon as Gao Ran proposed this seemingly ridiculous conclusion, Qin Chu rejected it. It's not like you don't know how resourceful that guy is. One moment, it's Huasiqian, the next, it's Jack. He has a lot of tricks up his sleeve. Gao Ran had already demonized Huasiqian in his heart. He even felt that his abilities were beyond that of an ordinary person. Qin Chu, on the other hand, remained calm. Old Gao, don't be silly. That idea doesn't work. First of all, Mian and Su Yu saw him die in the explosion with their own eyes. I also saw the DNA results of the remains of the body. I was afraid that someone over there would tamper with it, so I brought it back and did it again. There's no doubt that it was Huasiqian. Second of all, no matter how resourceful Huasiqian is, no matter what method he used to escape the explosion and is still alive, his goal can't be to suck someone's blood. His goal will always be one. At this point, Qin Chu paused. Gao Ran suddenly understood and continued Qin Chu's words, it's Mian. Yes, Huasiqian's only goal in life is Mian. Even if he split into Jack, it's still the same. So, there's no reason for him to suddenly harm a stranger. This motive doesn't work. Tisk tsk? I've been so busy recently that I'm confused. How can I not understand such a simple question? Chu, when your company goes bankrupt and you can't work anymore, come work for me as a criminal police officer. I think you have the talent, Gao Ran joked. Qin Chu glanced at Gao Ran faintly and replied, not to be outdone, if one day you fail at your job and get fired from the municipal bureau, come to GK and clean my office. You really don't want to be taken advantage of. Seeing that Qin Chu was in the mood to joke with him, Gao Ran didn't think much of it. After eating, he left. Qin Chu actually had something in his heart that he wanted to mention to Gao Ran. However, now that Gao Ran himself was in a terrible fix, Qin Chu thought about it and felt that it was inappropriate, so he didn't say it out loud. In the school you can do whatever you want in PE class. Little Bean was a girl like the wind. She carried the football and went up. Perhaps everyone was older than Little Bean, so they knew to give in to her. Pudding, on the other hand, was sitting on a bench at the edge of the room with her phone in her hand. She was in a daze. What are you thinking about? Wei Yunchu walked over and sat beside Pudding. But Wei Yunchu and Pudding weren't in the same class. At first, they weren't in the same school, but later on, they transferred over. Our piano class is so boring. Those things, I can play them with my eyes closed. I was so bored that I came out to get some fresh air. Seeing you sitting here, you seem to have something on your mind. Pudding lowered her head and said nothing. It's okay if you don't want to talk about it. I'll just sit with you for a while. Do you think that I look as bad as someone who lost money in the stock market? Pudding tilted her head and smiled. No, because you don't know how to lose money in the stock market. As far as I know, ever since you started playing the stock market, you haven't lost money, the female version of Warren Buffett. What Warren Buffett? I'm just lucky because of my dad. I'm actually very similar to my dad in many ways. Yes, Uncle Qin's personality is exactly the same as yours. But I think I'm also as calm and rational as my mom, calm and collected. Miss Pudding, narcissism is a disease that needs to be treated. Do you have medicine? Pudding tilted her head and smiled sweetly. She rarely joked with boys, but Wei Yunchu was different. She seemed to like this boy a lot. Chapter 4131. I don't have any medicine, but I can try to treat it for you. But it'll take a long time. How long? Pudding looked at him in confusion. Maybe for the rest of my life. Pudding felt her heart skip a beat. It was a strange feeling. It was ridiculous for such a young child to talk about a lifetime. But Pudding didn't think Wei Yunchu was joking. Wei Yunchu's parents were as smart as Qin and Huamian. Wei Liao was introverted and low-key, while Jiang Xiaowei was smart and farsighted. Their son must be good. In fact, in terms of EQ, Pudding and Wei Yunchu were much better than Pudding and Gaobuyan. Among these children, Gaobuyan was the most childlike. He was more innocent. Although Pudding and Wei Yunchu were regarded as little geniuses, their parents weren't very happy. She remembered that once when the two families had a gathering, Huamin said that he didn't want his daughter to be mature too early. Children should do what children do when they are young. Pudding was exposed to society too early. She was exposed to money, stocks, and finance. She had a heavy burden on her heart and couldn't find the simplicity and happiness of childhood. Ahem. Pudding was a bit embarrassed and changed the topic. How's Auntie Xiaowei these days? My mom has always been excellent. She's like a workaholic, just like Auntie Huamin. How about your auntie? Auntie has been doing well since she remarried. Grandpa and Dad don't seem to be as against Uncle as before. Although they're not anxious, at least they don't mock him anymore. Our topics are so strange. We're not like children at all. Pudding realized that she was funny. Pudding, you don't look happy these days. You don't talk on WeChat. Is it because of that thing? Wei Yunchu didn't dare to continue and seemed to be observing Pudding's expression. What thing? Pudding wasn't sure which thing Wei Yunchu was talking about. Annie Mion's child? I heard my mom and dad talk about it. My brother is gone, right? Although I don't know the reason, it's indeed bad news. This is indeed a big blow to our family, but it's not because of this. Pudding thought for a while but didn't know what to say. Yunchu, let me ask you. If someone looks exactly like your mother with the same personality, voice, and behavior, and she pretends to be your mother, can you tell the difference? To be honest, I really don't know how to answer because this question is so sudden. I'm not mentally prepared at all, but I feel that. I might not be able to tell at first, but as time goes by, I'll feel it. After all, I've been with Mom for so long, I know some small details about her life. Yes. What's wrong? Why are you asking this all of a sudden? Wei Yunchu felt that Pudding was acting strange today, and the topics she talked about were also very heavy. It's nothing. I've been watching too many sci-fi movies recently, so I was just asking. Come to my house this weekend. My dad has a friend who is an artist. He is very talented in art. I want to learn from him. I'm not going. I'm having dinner with handsome Sue at Lord Sue's place this week. All right, next time. All right. Wei Yunchu looked at the time and secretly got up to go back to the classroom. Pudding looked at the clouds in the sky, a little confused. Mom, should I continue to believe you? Is that still you? Chapter 41-32. Pudding didn't know if she was right. She had been looking for an opportunity to tell her father, but she didn't dare to. She was afraid that her father would be sad because she suspected their mother, who loved them the most. However, Pudding truly felt that her mother had been strange ever since she came back from Yunnan after saving handsome Sue. She felt strange and couldn't tell what was wrong. In short, the feeling was very strong. She even used her phone to search for information on Baidu behind her parents' backs. For example, she had been poisoned by witchcraft. Sometimes they would be possessed by ghosts or evil spirits. Sometimes they would collide with the mountain god. She also wanted to see her grandmother and ask her if there were any powerful immortals in the city. It would be best if she could help her mother see what was wrong. If it wasn't her mother, there was no reason why her father didn't know anything when she felt it. Therefore, Pudding was very conflicted and her heart was in a mess, but she didn't dare to tell anyone. At the same time, on the other side of the earth, in the underwater palace, Huamin walked forward step by step and finally saw that it was a woman sitting in the hall. He couldn't see her face because she was wearing a crystal mask. This was the first time Huamin had seen a mask made of crystal. How good was the craftsmanship? However, for some reason when he saw the mask, Huamin suddenly thought of Layla, who loved to wear a golden mask. There must be some kind of relationship between them. These people all like to wear masks. They must be accomplices. Child, you're here? The voice was very pleasant, but when it called Huamin himself, it confused Huamin. Who are you? Why did you bring me here? What's your relationship with Layla? Where are my friends? Huamin had too many questions and asked 4 in one go. The woman just smiled and stood up to walk down. With every step she took, the gold ornaments on her body clattered. Her shawl was gorgeous and dazzling like a queen's. It looked dreamy and unreal. Me? Do you know who I am? Huamin's pupils constricted. He didn't know why this woman would say that. Me? You've always been smart? I heard that your EQ and IQ were much higher than normal kids when you were young. Since you're so smart, why don't you guess who I am? We know each other? Huamin was a little confused. Don't you think I'm familiar? The woman stared into Huamin's eyes and smiled slightly. Although the crystal mask covered half of his face, the mouth under his nose was still very clear. Huamian stared at the half of his face carefully. Indeed, she felt a sense of familiarity. She tried her best to recall where she had seen this woman before. However, after searching for half a day, he still found nothing. No matter who you are, stop pretending to be a ghost. I feel that you didn't spend so much effort to get me here, just to feed me, right? Huamin knew that this group of people must have a purpose, but he didn't know what it was. However, Huamin vaguely felt that it had something to do with his biological father, Professor Lu. This was because he had heard from Yen that his father seemed to have something extremely important. Taking it was also the goal of many ambitious people. Ian had chased after Yen for many years for that thing. After hearing Huamin's words, the woman raised her hand and slowly took off her mask. The moment he saw her face clearly, Huamin stopped breathing. There was only one voice in his ears. It was the words that the woman said softly, "Min, I'm your mother." Chapter 41-33. Huamin never expected to see Linya here. Or rather, the living Linya. At that moment, she felt as if her brain had short-circuited. All that was left in her mind was that voice that kept echoing. "Mian, I'm your mother, I'm your mother." Then, Huamin's reaction was too big and intense, and she fainted. She had a very long dream. In the dream, she was still young, only 5 or 6 years old. She was playing in a beautiful house with her father and mother. "Mian, come to mommy." Mian stumbled and finally pounced into her mother's arms. She smelled the unique warm scent. It was her mother's scent. Then, she raised her head and looked at the exquisite face that angered both men and gods. Suddenly, the scene changed and turned into her own appearance, or rather, Layla. "Huamin, you're finally in my hands." Then, Huamin woke up from her dream. She was sweating profusely as she looked around in horror. She wished that she was at South Hill Manor. She wished that she could see her husband the moment she opened her eyes. In the past, whenever she had a nightmare at home, Qin Chu would wake up quickly. Then he would gently pat her back to comfort her. He would hug her from behind and give her a sense of security. But here, it was still those damn white rooms. From her stomach, she heard the baby moving vigorously. Huamin subconsciously touched her stomach. "Baby, don't be afraid. Mommy is here. We have to try our best to escape. We have to go back and see Daddy and sisters safely," Huamin muttered to herself. Then she got off the ground. Hearing the sound, the maid at the door came in. "Sister Mian, what do you need?" Her tone was polite, but the maid always had a poker face and was expressionless. Huamin even felt that they were emotionless robots. "Where is that person? Where is she? I want to see her. Master has already left. Miss Mian has been unconscious for a day and a night. You should rest well." "Left? Where did she go?" "I don't know." "Where's Messiah?" "Messiah is resting. Do you want me to call her over?" "Forget it, let her rest." Huamin knew that even if he called Messiah over, the result would be the same. She wouldn't say much. "I'm hungry. I want to eat something." "Oh, Miss Mian, what do you want to eat? We'll prepare it right away." "I want to eat pork and celery dumplings." "What?" The maid obviously found it strange. It was no wonder. They were all foreign girls and had never heard of such China-style things. "I want to eat dumplings." Huamin seemed to feel wronged. He sat on the chair and panted heavily. She really wanted to eat dumplings. She wanted to eat the dumplings made by her mother, Yang Mei. She wanted to eat her husband's black pepper pasta. She wanted to eat her mother-in-law's sweet and sour pork ribs and fried meatballs. She wanted to see Pudding and Little Bean. She wondered how her children were doing. And what happened to Su Yu in that explosion? She had too many worries in her heart. Huamin lowered his head and tears rolled down his cheeks. She knew that what she experienced during the day wasn't a dream. There must be a reason why that woman said she was her mother. But she didn't think it was that simple. After all, She had experienced the horror of Jingde coming back from the dead. She was very suspicious of this Linya who claimed to be her mother. Late at night, GK headquarters, Qin Chu worked overtime until 9 o'clock before he slowly went downstairs. But as soon as he walked into the elevator, all the lights in the elevator went off. Then he felt there was another person in the elevator. Chapter 4134. Qin Chu subconsciously touched the pistol at his waist. It was a habit he had developed in the US. He was always afraid of danger and couldn't fight back. 3 seconds later, the elevator light lit up. Qin Chu's gun was pointed at the man's head. "Don't be nervous. I'm not here for trouble." It was standard English with a German accent. After seeing the man's face, Qin Chu was slightly surprised. Nalo? Who was Nalo? There was a famous pair of brothers in Germany. The older brother was a mafia boss and the younger brother was a terrorist. Therefore, Nalo was Ian's brother, the man who was rumored to have a close relationship with Wuxia. Nalo was wearing a dark gray British-style cashmere coat with gentlemanly politeness. No matter how one looked at him, he did not have the temperament of a German mafia boss. But Qin Chu didn't dare to let down his guard. After all, he wasn't a friend. "I'm glad you can recognize me." Nalo smiled. Qin Chu didn't put down the pistol. It was still pointed at his head. "Young man, don't be nervous. Let's talk?" Nalo said in an extremely calm tone. Elevator 5432 went directly to the first floor. The moment the elevator door opened, Qin Chu quickly put away his pistol. The two walked out of the elevator together. "Do you want to have a cup of tea? I heard that Chinese people like to drink tea." Nalo invited him. "Sure." Qin Chu knew he couldn't refuse. If he provoked this guy, it would be troublesome. Therefore, he wasn't afraid or panicked. Instead, he followed Nalo alone. Nalo's subordinates followed them from a distance and seemed to be observing their movements. Nalo got into Qin Chu's black Bentley and they went to a high-end tea house in the city center. Inside a private room on the top floor. The beautiful waitress made a pot of West Lake Longjing tea and poured a cup for each of them. Qin Chu and Nalo sat facing each other. "What do you want to say?" "I have to go home." Obviously, Qin Chu didn't want to have too much to do with this guy. Nalo took off his hat calmly and put it on the table. He picked up the teacup and took a small sip. China's tea ceremony is extensive and profound. He used to like drinking tea when he was in Germany. His favorite was De Hong Pao, Nalo said to himself. Qin Chu didn't say anything. He just listened quietly. "We've heard about what happened to your wife. It's a pity that the child is gone. You guys are very well informed." Qin Chu's face was very calm. "I've actually been looking into his whereabouts, and I accidentally heard about the explosion. So, I wanted to ask you if Hua is really dead." Qin Chu was not in a hurry to answer. He picked up his teacup and took a small sip before slowly putting it down. "Wuxia is indeed dead. Did you see it with your own eyes?" Nalo asked, unwilling to give up. "I didn't see it with my own eyes, but Su Yu and Mian can testify. Plus, I found pieces of the body at the scene and did multiple DNA tests and comparisons." "What a pity. He left just like that." Nalo seemed depressed. His eyes dimmed slightly. He risked his life to enter the country and see Qin Chu just to get confirmation from him. After all, Qin Chu wasn't a liar. When he heard that Wuxia was really dead, Nalo's heart was heavy and sorrowful. When he left, was it Jack or? Nalo seemed to know about Wuxia's split personality. "It was Wuxia," Qin Chu answered. Chapter 4135. Nalo remained silent and continued to drink his tea. The two of them didn't speak, and a full 3 minutes went by. The air seemed to have frozen. Nalo finished the last sip of tea in his cup. Then he stood up slowly. "Thank you for telling me this. I should go now." Qin Chu stood up as well. "I've already paid for the tea." "Thank you," Nalo said as he turned around. As soon as Nalo turned around, Qin Chu said, "See you never again." Yes, he didn't want to see these people. Whether it was Ian or Nalo. He didn't want to have anything to do with these people. Ian didn't want to let go of Lu Yen, but that was his business. But Nalo, a mafioso, had never shown any hostility toward them. Qin Chu didn't want to have anything to do with these people in this life. When he walked to the door, Nalo suddenly thought of something. He turned around and looked at Qin Chu. Is Lu Yen dead? I don't know, Qin Chu told the truth. It's a pity if she's dead. But there are rumors out there. If she doesn't show up for a while, I'm afraid her organization and base will be in danger. It could be a reminder or a warning. Anyway, Nalo said these words before he left. Qin Chu was also frustrated. He hadn't figured out what was going on yet. He didn't care about Lu Yen. Lu Yen was missing and he didn't know where she went. He couldn't even contact the professor. He went to find Lu Yen but didn't get any news. There were rumors out there that Lu Yen was dead. Her subordinates, her connections, her clients, and her enemies, countless people were waiting for this news. If Lu Yen died, the mercenary world would be in chaos again. After all, this little devil had been the #1 girl in the mercenary world for many years. On the way back, Qin Chu felt uneasy. The way back was extremely long. He didn't feel as eager to go home as before. He could feel his rejection of Huamin growing stronger. At first, he didn't want to see him, but now he didn't want to see him. However, he still couldn't figure out what had caused the current situation. Was it really because Huamin sacrificed their child to save Suyu? No, there was no such thing. Qin Chu was also sad that the child was gone. However, he was definitely not a petty man who would reject Huamin because of Suyu. South Hill Manor. After Qin Chu returned home, he first went to the master bedroom and looked at Huamin, who was sound asleep. He looked at her with a complicated expression before he turned around. Hubby, Huamin suddenly stood up and stared into Qin Chu's eyes. Why are you awake? I had a nightmare. I dreamt of blood. I dreamt of that explosion. It's all in the past, Min. Hubby, don't go to the study. Can you stay with me? Huamin's eyes were filled with tears. She looked at Qin Chu with pleading eyes. Her gaze was heartbreaking and irresistible. However, Qin Chu stood there, unmoved. Hubby, do you not love me anymore? Huamin asked a surprising question. Why do you ask? Qin Chu's voice was a little hoarse as he looked at Huamin in the dark. You've been avoiding me since we came back from Yunnan. Don't think I don't know. Are you angry with me? Because I didn't protect our child? Qin Chu didn't say anything. Or do you think that Suyu is more important to me than you and the child? Huamin's tone was aggressive. Chapter 41-36. She thought Qin Chu would apologize or comfort her, but Huamian didn't. But he didn't. Mian, you're thinking too much. Go to sleep. Qin Chu, don't go. Tell me clearly. Do you dislike me? Do you not love me anymore? Or do you suspect that there's something between Suyu and me? Huamin suddenly raised her voice. Hearing this, Qin Chu stopped in his tracks. Why would you say that? Qin Chu looked at her in surprise. Then Huamin said word by word, because when we were locked up by Xianxia, we were in the same room. And, in order to get revenge on Suyu, Xianxia drugged Suyu. You know that kind of drug. We were alone in the same room, so Qin Chu's pupils contracted. So Xianxia thought that kind of thing happened, but Suyu didn't do anything to me. You have to believe that there's nothing between us. So, Mian, what are you trying to say to me? I just want to say, honey, we've been together for so many years. Don't you know my character? Qin Chu was silent. I didn't want to lose the child either. I didn't want to either. Why are you blaming me for everything? Suyu saved our lives, so you agreed when I went to save him, right? Why are you going back on your word now? Honey, you're not that kind of person. Tell me why. Do you have to force me to divorce you? Mian, you're too tired. You should sleep. After Qin Chu said this, he turned around and left. Huamin was so angry that she picked up the pillow and threw it at the door. After Qin Chu's figure disappeared, she smiled strangely. Huamin, your man is just SOSO. I thought he loved you so much. How ironic. Now it seems that he's starting to dislike you. What a pitiful woman. Qin Chu went to the study and sat down. Pudding walked in with a cup of coffee. She was barefoot and wore a light blue cotton nightgown. Daddy, Pudding, why are you here? Come here, the floor is cold. Xianxia's love for his children did not diminish at all. When he saw Pudding standing barefoot on the floor, his heart immediately ached. He got up and picked up Pudding. He carefully took the coffee and placed it on the table. In the past, when Mommy was at home, she would always prepare a cup of coffee for Daddy. Recently, Daddy likes to drink American coffee without sugar. Yes, my baby is so smart. Pudding's words were like a small sun that warmed Xianxia's heart. Daddy, did you quarrel with Mommy? You heard everything. Pudding nodded. It's nothing serious. Don't worry. Mommy has been in a bad mood recently. We won't provoke her. But I heard her say she wanted a divorce. That's just something I said in anger. It's not true. Daddy, have you felt Mommy lately? Pudding looked into Xianxia's eyes and wanted to tell him what was on her mind. But she had a feeling that her daddy was hinting at her with his eyes, telling her not to say it out loud. Yeah, I feel it. Mommy has been in a bad mood recently. After all, she's not in good health and is still recuperating. She'll be fine after a while. Xianxia interrupted his daughter and did not let Pudding finish her words. Pudding was smart enough to realize something and did not mention it again. Then, she told her daddy some things about her school and the interesting stories between her and Pudding. In the master bedroom, Huamin put away his Bluetooth headset. The conversation between father and daughter is so boring and uninformative. She was very cautious and eavesdropped on the conversation between Xianxia and Pudding. Finding it extremely boring, she pulled off the headset and tossed it aside. After sending Pudding back to her room, Xianxia activated the anti-eavesdropping device. He called the professor again. He needed his father-in-law's help. At least, he should find Lu Yan first. Chapter 4137. Unfortunately, he couldn't get through to the professor. Xianxia had no choice but to call Xiao Fei. Brother-in-law. Fei, where are you now? Yunnan. Xianxia, why are you still there? I thought Yen couldn't have gone far with her injuries, so I started to expand my search area. You still haven't heard from her? Xiao Fei was disappointed. Can you get in touch with the professor? I can't. I don't know why. It seems like the professor is in trouble, Xianxia analyzed. Is there anything you need me to do? Be careful. I have a feeling this isn't as simple as it seems. Okay, I will. After hanging up the phone, Xianxia slept in the study again. The next morning, at breakfast, he didn't see Huamin. Chu, where's Mian? Xianxia's mother didn't know that they were sleeping in separate rooms. She should still be in her room. I'll go take a look. A young lady went out this morning. One of the maids interrupted. Where did she go? Xianxia froze. She didn't say. I saw a young lady go out at around 5 a.m. in a cotton-padded jacket. She hasn't come back yet. Xianxia picked up his phone and called Huamin, but his phone was turned off. What's wrong? You too? Xianxia's mother asked immediately when she realized something was wrong. We had a fight last night. Son, how could you fight with Mian? She's still in confinement at a time like this? What if she gets angry and gets sick? How can you be so immature? Xianxia's mother scolded her son. Xianxia's father also said, Chu, don't eat. Go out and see if she went back to Sky Blessing Court or Lingling and Xiaowei's place. She'll be fine. Mian isn't a willful person. She's in a bad mood, so let her go out for a walk. Son, what kind of attitude is this? That's your wife. Don't you feel bad for her? The two elders of the Qin family also felt that there was something wrong with the way their son treated their daughter-in-law. Xianxia didn't say much. He calmly finished his breakfast and sent the twins to school. On the way, Little Bean was still gossiping. Daddy, what's wrong with you recently? You've been so cold to Mommy. No, Daddy has been too busy with the company recently. Really? Don't tell me you have a mistress? Little Bean's words made Xianxia laugh. If there is, what will you do? Of course it's to fight against the mistress with Big Sister and protect Mommy. Besides, Daddy, your taste can't be that bad, right? There's no woman better than Mommy in this world. That's right. In this world, there's no better woman than your mother. Qin Chu sighed slightly. After sending the children to school, Qin Chu had just gotten into the car when he received a call. After seeing the caller ID, Qin Chu vigilantly turned on the anti-eavesdropping device before answering the call. Really? Is the result out? Did you check it carefully? Yes, President Qin. I've checked it and confirmed it carefully. Very good, I got it. Don't do anything for now. Listen to my orders. Okay, President Qin. The moment he hung up the phone, Qin Chu finally felt relieved. He finally confirmed his suspicions for a long time. The snow in the north was getting heavier and heavier. It would fall from dawn to sunset. Qin Chu looked up at the heavy snow falling from the sky. I know you're guiding me. I won't let you down. Chapter 4138. Su Yu had a sudden increase in gossip recently because he went to nightclubs every day. Every day, he would bring foreign young models home but send them away 2 hours later. Many gossipy paparazzi thought that Su Yu was back to his old life of debauchery. So, many media outlets began to report on it. Most of the titles were, Su Yu, the prodigal son? Non-existent. The young master of the Su family finally gave up his love and returned to his extravagant nightlife. After years of hard work, Su Yu is finally exhausted. Where does his love go this time? Foreign young models? Artists under him? Which one is Su Yu's final destination? When Su Yu saw these reports, he almost laughed out loud. Boss, you still have the nerve to laugh? Everyone is writing about you as if you're a deer in heat. They're saying that you bring a lot of women home every day and that you're living a life of debauchery. And was indignant and felt indignant for his boss. He really wanted to tell those people that his boss bringing women home was just a cover. In fact, he didn't do anything. Every time, those women would sit in the living room for 2 hours and then leave with a considerable amount of money. But why did Su Yu do this? Why did he do such a boring and money-burning thing? Only in knew. After Su Yu came back, he began to blame himself. Then it turned into fear. He was afraid to see Qin Chu and Huamin. He felt that the loss of that child was his fault. So he didn't dare to calm down. Other than going to work and getting off work, he could only go to nightclubs to get drunk. Then, to create the illusion that Huamin was no longer in his heart, he began to act like he did many years ago. He pretended to bring women home to spend the night and so on. In fact, he did this to cover up his true thoughts. Let them write whatever they want. It's good. Everyone can eat melons. Aren't you afraid that Miss Han will misunderstand you? And felt sorry for Han Yueyao, who was in love with Su Yu. What does it have to do with Han Yueyao? She's not my girlfriend, Su Yu said casually. What if she becomes your girlfriend in the future? Don't talk nonsense. Eat your melon. After making fun of Xiaoan, Su Yu lowered his head and continued reading the financial news. Noon Lady Su arrived at the company, carrying a purple dye fey bag and dressed elegantly. On the outside of the beige dress was a mid-length down jacket. It was very elegant. Mom, why are you here? Yeah, I was just passing by. Let's have lunch together? Sure, it's rare for you to be in the mood. Su Yu tidied up, picked up his coat, and followed his mother downstairs. There was a home-cooked restaurant behind the company. It was Lady Su's favorite dish. Because the local dishes were very traditional, Lady Su was very nostalgic and often came here to eat. After the mother and son walked in, Su Yu saw Han Yueyao from a distance. Who was called by you? Su Yu wasn't stupid. He knew that it wasn't as simple as a chance encounter. Yeah, I met Yao Yao when I first arrived, so I asked her to order first. Then the three of them sat in a small private room upstairs. When Han Yueyao saw Su Yu, she was a bit nervous. President Su. Sit down. Have you ordered Yao Yao? Lady Su looked at Han Yueyao affectionately. Auntie, I only ordered one dish. You and President Su can order the rest. I'm not picky and will eat anything. Okay, let me have a look. Holding the menu, Lady Su walked out with the waiter while looking at it. Only Su Yu and Han Yueyao were left in the private room. The atmosphere was a bit awkward. President Su, you've been very busy recently. You've been bringing foreign models home. You have to take care of yourself. I heard from the doctor that excessive indulgence is not good for your health. Chapter 4139. Su Yu chuckled. I say, little girl, why are you still so sharp-tongued? How dare you diss your boss? I'm not dissing you. I'm just telling the truth. I'm giving my boss advice. Honest words are harsh to the ears, understand? Then should I thank you? You're welcome. Just give me a bonus at the end of the month. Han Yueyao, don't you have any shame? You've already won a Bugatti from me. What else do you want? Isn't that a loss? Su Yu, it had been a long time since he argued with Han Yueyao. After this feeling returned, Su Yu suddenly felt quite relaxed. This was the first time he felt so relaxed since he returned from Yunnan. To be honest, whenever he calmed down, he would start to blame himself endlessly. Then, he would be conflicted and blamed himself for letting Huamin down. Every time he saw Han Yueyao, this girl seemed to have a magical power. She could make him forget some of his troubles for a while. Therefore, this might be the reason why Su Yu didn't dislike her. After a while, Lady Su returned. She sat beside Su Yu. Yao Yao, you accepted another reality show. Ah, President Su arranged it for me. Why do you sound like you're blaming me? Su Yu smiled. No, I'm grateful. Sometimes, I'm so excited that I want to kowtow to you. Han Yueyao's naughty behavior cheered Mrs. Su up. She didn't blame Han Yueyao for her impoliteness. In fact, after Su Yu was kidnapped, Lady Su had been in a bad state of mind and was depressed. When Han Yueyao came to find her, what she said shocked Lady Su for a long time. From then on, she felt that this girl was a good person. No matter what, she hoped that she could set her up with her son. If Su Yu could marry Han Yueyao, it would be a blessing. The waiters served the dishes one after another. Lady Su kept putting food on Han Yueyao's plate, making her feel embarrassed. Yao Yao, you are not little anymore, right? Yeah, I'll be 26 after the new year. I'm getting old. Han Yueyao chuckled as she gnawed on the pork ribs. The corners of her mouth were stained with grease, but she didn't know how to wipe it off. She was very cute. You're already 26. You're not young anymore. Then, have you had a boyfriend since you came here? Lady Su asked deliberately. In fact, she knew about Han Yueyao's situation. Perhaps these words were meant for Su Yu to hear. Su Yu ate in small bites as he listened to their conversation. I don't have time. Ever since I joined Imperial Star, I've been as busy as a dog. No, I think too much. In fact, even a dog isn't as busy as I am. I'm so busy that I have to hold the stopwatch when I go to the washroom. I don't have time to date. You're right. Dancing Allure is a tough show. I won't accept such a tough show in the future, Lady Su said and picked up a piece of rib for Han Yueyao. Yeah. What kind of boys do you like? Tell Annie. Auntie knows a lot of people. When the time comes, I can introduce some outstanding boys to you. Han Yueyao said shyly. She glanced at Su Yu shyly. I only have 2 requirements. The first is a man, and the second is a man alive. Lady Su laughed so hard that she rocked back and forth. You little girl, you're almost performing a crosstalk today. You're so funny. I'm asking you seriously. You'd better answer properly. In fact, I think the boys I like only need to be like President Su. Before Han Yueyao could finish, Su Yu looked embarrassed and gulped down water to hide his embarrassment. Chapter 4140. Then Han Yueyao continued, as long as the boy I like is like President Su's bodyguard, and ahem, so it's you. Su Yu heaved a sigh of relief. He thought Han Yueyao was going to say, if only the boy I like is like President Su. Unfortunately, although Han Yueyao was usually loud, she wasn't the kind of person who could say it out loud at critical moments. She was still very shy. After all, she had the guts to confess to him that day but was interrupted by Su Yu. Therefore, Han Yueyao thought that Su Yu might not be interested in her, that little bit of affection might be an illusion. Perhaps it was because Huamin treated her well that Su Yu showed her some pity. This child is so narrow-minded. Lady Su smiled as if she could tell that Han Yueao was too shy to say it. Mom, what are you talking about? And is also a good man, okay? Su Yu immediately defended and, if young master and didn't have Queen Lu in his heart, I would be happy to set you guys up. Who's Queen Lu? Lady Su was confused. No, I'm just using an analogy. I mean An's character is good. I just want my future boyfriend to have a character of that level, Han Yueao quickly explained. During the meal, Han Yueao didn't get anything else other than the reference value of her boyfriend. Lady Su wasn't in a hurry. After the meal, Lady Su left with the bodyguard. Su Yu and Han Yueao walked back to the company. Due to the boring paparazzi at the front door, the two of them tacitly chose to go through the back door. When only the two of them were left, the atmosphere became awkward again. Like a couple, they strolled on the streets. Only then did Han Yueao dare to secretly size up Su Yu. Su Yu was tall and stylish in everything he wore, like a male model. Su Yu had always liked light colors, mainly white and beige. In winter, he liked to wear light blue and coffee-colored cashmere coats and thin cotton jackets. Today, Su Yu was wearing a short coffee-colored jacket. On his left arm was a classic Medusa symbol. Versace didn't seem to be the most expensive brand, but it was Su Yu's favorite. His love for Huamian was as everlasting as his love for her. What are you looking at? Su Yu glanced at Han Yueao in puzzlement. Handsome Su, you're so handsome, like a male model. Your flattery is comparable to Little Bean's. Haha, I'm not as cute as Little Bean. You're not as cute as Little Bean, but you can eat more than her. You're such a foodie. President Su, is it really okay for you to slander your artists like this? The other bosses are their bosses' bosses? Is I to be the bosses to be a boss? I admit defeat. Han Yueao cupped her hands at him. Su Yu chuckled. The two of them walked into the elevator at the same time. Just then, they saw a person walk out of the elevator. Both Su Yu and Han Yueao froze. It was none other than Huamin. She was wearing a long white cotton jacket. Her hair was loose and she didn't look very well. Huamin glanced at Han Yueao indifferently. Then she looked at Su Yu. Min, why are you here? Su Yu was surprised that Huamin could walk around so early in the morning. Didn't she need to lie down? Do you have time to talk? Huamin's voice was choked with sobs. Chapter 41-41. Of course. Let's go to my office. Su Yu immediately led Huamin upstairs. Sister Mion, Han Yueao had wanted to take the opportunity to say hello to Huamin. Yesterday, she had asked her mother to buy some high-quality Sika deer pregnancy ointment for Huamin to nourish his body. She wanted to visit him, but before she could, Huamin ran out and came to Imperial Star. She didn't look well. Huamin didn't stop at Han Yueao's call of Sister Mion. He didn't even look at Han Yueao and went upstairs with Su Yu. Han Yueao was left alone, feeling a little awkward. Han Yueao thought Huamian hated her for not visiting her. Now that she was famous in Asia and had won the alluring dance show, she began to show off. But that wasn't the case. Han Yueao blamed herself. She immediately took out her cell phone and opened WeChat. She sent a long WeChat message to Huamin. Sister Mion, I'm sorry. First of all, I apologize to you. You've been back for days and I haven't visited you. It's not because I'm busy with work or other excuses. I just thought that what you went through this time was a big blow and I wanted you to have a good rest and quiet. You might think that I'm ungrateful, but please don't be mad at me. I'm not that kind of person. I'll always remember everything you've done for me. After a long time, Huamin still didn't reply. Han Yueao returned to the performance department in disappointment. Huamin's cell phone was in her bag and she had turned it to silent mode, so she didn't see the WeChat message. In other words, even if she saw it, Huamin probably wouldn't reply to irrelevant people because she wasn't in the mood. President Hua, seeing Huamin, and was excited. Huamin's attitude was very cold. He ignored An and walked inside. And rubbed his forehead, thinking that he had seen wrongly. This didn't seem like Huamin. Even if she was in a bad mood, she wouldn't be so disrespectful. Xiaoan didn't dare to say anything and stood guard at the door. Su Yu quickly took the initiative to pour a glass of water for Huamin. It's very cold. Drink some water first. Su Yu took off his jacket and sat on the sofa, not too far from Huamin. Huamin held the glass of water and didn't say anything. Mian, what's wrong? You look unhappy? Su Yu asked. Su Yu, I want to divorce Qin Chu. It could be seen that she was still angry when she said this. Divorce? Stop fooling around, big sister. Why are you getting a divorce? Your child is already so old. Just make do with it. Su Yu was just joking, but Huamin didn't laugh. Su Yu, he despises me. Despise you? That's impossible. Even if all the men in the world despise you, he won't despise you, Su Yu said with certainty. What's wrong with you? Aren't you his love rival? Why are you speaking up for him? Could it be that even you are starting to despise me? As Huamin said this, tears welled up in her eyes. Su Yu's heart ached. No, I didn't mean that. I was just joking with you. What's going on between the two of you? Tell me slowly. Can you, my ancestor? I'm so anxious. Su Yu stood up and took a tissue to Huamin. She cooperated and took out a piece of tissue to wipe the tears from the corner of her eyes. After we came back from the accident, Qin Chu's attitude towards me changed. Huamin took the initiative to tell Su Yu about her and Qin Chu. Su Yu was extremely shocked. Chapter 41-42. Mian, is what you said true? Su Yu couldn't believe it. It had only been a few days since they came back. How did the intimate relationship between Qin Chu and Huamian become so? Why would I lie to you about something like this? Do you think I'm the kind of person who would lie to you about something like this? Seeing Huamin bark, Su Yu felt conflicted again. How could that be? Why did you two do it? Su Yu was actually quite scared after asking the question. It seemed to be the answer he was most afraid of hearing. Huamin looked at Su Yu in silence for a while. At first, I didn't understand the reason. I thought he was busy with work or didn't want to disturb me so that I could have a good rest. Later, I thought too much. I was afraid that he suspected that something might have happened between us after we were alone for so long. That's impossible. Qin Chu isn't that kind of person. Second, you were pregnant at the time. No matter how crazy I am, I wouldn't do something to a pregnant woman. Even if that psycho Layla fed me drugs, I didn't. At this point, Su Yu stopped. He felt that there was no need to continue, or else it would be awkward for everyone. Yeah, so that's why that possibility is eliminated. There's only the second possibility left. Qin Chu. Maybe it's because I didn't protect our child well, so, hearing this, Su Yu's mind exploded. This was what he was most afraid of. It was also the reason why he had been avoiding Huamin and not daring to see Huamin. But today, hearing it from Huamin himself, Su Yu felt as if there was a pack of explosives in his chest. Perhaps seeing Su Yu's strange expression, Huamin stopped halfway and asked him, Su Yu, are you okay? Su Yu's eyes were red. He looked up at Huamin and said, If I could go back in time to that day, I really wish that I was the one who took your explosives and died with those bad guys. Then I wouldn't have to suffer like this. To be honest, you and Qin Chu are the ones who suffer the most after the child is gone. But you might not understand how I feel. I feel 100 times worse than you. What I'm saying now, and it might sound fake. But if possible, I'm willing to die for that child and bring him back. So, a grown man was forced to cry because of Huamian. This was unprecedented in the history of the world. Huamin might have realized that what she did was a little cruel. She immediately changed the topic and gently comforted him. Su Yu, I'm not blaming you for this, and I don't mean to blame you. Don't say things like that. If I could do it again, I would still choose to save you. I don't regret it. It's okay if Qin Chu doesn't understand me. As long as you understand me, really. I only care about your feelings now. After speaking, Huamin reached out and placed her hand on the back of Su Yu's hand. However, what came from her palm was not warmth, but a bone-chilling cold. However, Su Yu was still shocked. Huamin took the initiative to touch his hand. Even if it was just to comfort him, he still trembled. And what did Huamin mean by that? What did she mean by, it's okay if Qin Chu doesn't understand me, As long as you understand me. I only care about your feelings now. Why did she say that? Su Yu's mind went blank and he lost the ability to think. After all, this happened too suddenly. Su Yu, if I get a divorce, will you despise me? Chapter 41-43. Huamin's second sentence was another bomb that seemed to explode in Su Yu's heart. If he understood correctly, Huamin's words meant, if I get a divorce, will you still want me? Was that what he meant? But such an explicit way of speaking. Su Yu froze. He wasn't used to it and didn't know how to respond to Su Yu. The way he spoke didn't sound like Huamin. With Huamin's personality, he didn't think he would say something like this. But the person in front of him was Huamian. Su Yu was confused. At this moment, he was completely confused. Su Yu, why aren't you saying anything? Do you dislike me too? No, I won't. I'll never dislike you, Su Yu quickly said. I've had enough of Qin Chu's attitude. I understand that he's sad about losing his children, but I'm also sad. I really don't know what to do. When I feel better next week, I plan to have a good talk with him. If he still doesn't repent, I'll have to divorce him. Mian, don't be impulsive. Divorce isn't child's play. I'm serious. What about Pudding and Little Bean? Give them to him. I don't want anything. I don't want a penny. I'll leave with nothing. Mian, what? With my medical skills, do you think I'll starve myself to death? Huamin raised his eyebrows. It's not a matter of starving yourself to death. There's no need for the two of you to be so tense right now. Otherwise, your parents will be angry. I suggest you two talk it out. You've known each other for so many years. This little conflict is nothing. Listen to me. Su Yu wasn't someone who would take advantage of a burning house, so no matter how much he liked Huamin, he wouldn't. He would never support something as ridiculous as a divorce. He just tried his best to comfort her and persuade her. Forget it, it's my family business after all. After talking to you, I feel much better. I'm leaving. Where are you going? I don't know. I'll just walk around. I don't want to go home. Mian, don't be so stubborn. I'm not. I just don't want to go back. Then I'll accompany you for a walk. I'm really worried about you now. Su Yu didn't want Huamin to wander the streets alone in the cold winter. Therefore, after putting on his coat, he went out with Huamin. There was a large luxury store next to Imperial Star Group. Su Yu wanted to take Huamin out for a stroll, but he didn't expect that. Huamin was in a good mood and bought a lot of luxury goods. Most of them were women's favorites. There were all kinds of bags, scarves, high heels, perfume, and even some lingerie. When Huamin came out, he didn't even bring his bag. When it was time to pay the bill, Su Yu swiped his card without hesitation. He spent a total of more than 600,000 yuan. Huamin only smiled and thanked Su Yu. Then he said that he wanted to go back to Sky Blessing Court to see his mother. The two parted ways at the entrance of the market. Su Yu wanted to drive her, but she refused. Huamin took a taxi and left. Watching Huamin leave, Su Yu felt that something was wrong. It was weird, but he couldn't tell what it was. Maybe he was overthinking it. Back in his office, Su Yu wasn't in the mood to work. After thinking about Huamin's attitude, he felt that he needed to talk to Qin Chu. After all, he was the cause of this explosion. He picked up his phone and called Qin Chu. Qin Chu, it's me. I know. Mian came to my place today, Su Yu said calmly. Oh, what did she say? Qin Chu's attitude was cold. She said that you two had a fight. Is that true? I guess so. Qin Chu, I think. Mian doesn't have it easy. It's not easy for everyone. It's not easy for everyone, Qin Chu said out of the blue. How about this? Are you free tonight? Let's meet up? Have a good chat? Su Yu felt that there were some things that he had to explain to Qin Chu face to face. He also had to make it clear to him that if he continued to doubt Huamin, Huamin would want to divorce him. Chapter 41-44. Su Yu really wanted to persuade Qin Chu to let him and Huamin untie the knot in their hearts. He thought that Qin Chu would agree without hesitation. After all, the two of them had always been on good terms. Unfortunately, Su Yu guessed wrong this time. Qin Chu's attitude was very cold. I'm not free tonight. Let's do it another day. Su Yu knew that Qin Chu didn't want to talk to him. Otherwise, he would have rejected everything. Qin Chu's evasive attitude made Su Yu feel that the situation between the two of them was very serious. It wasn't as simple as a small argument. He thought about Huamin's divorce and his disappointment in Qin Chu's attitude. Su Yu still blamed himself. What he said to Huamin before was also true. Sometimes he really wanted to die in the explosion. To be Hua Xiqian's character, because if he sacrificed himself, everything would be over. It was easy to die, but it was difficult to live. After Qin Chu rejected Su Yu was very depressed. For the entire afternoon, he was also absent-minded in the meeting. GK headquarters. After Qin Chu finished the high-level meeting, Bella and Jixin were left alone. You two, come to my office. Okay, President Qin. Jixin had just returned from a business trip and had only met Huamin once. Because they had negotiated a cooperation project, they were about to report to Qin Chu. After entering the door, the two of them noticed that President Qin's mood was not right today. Bella and Jixin didn't dare to speak and waited for Qin Chu to speak. Sit down. Qin Chu pointed at the sofa and said. Bella and Jixin both sat down. They looked at each other as if they had a tacit understanding in their eyes. They knew that their brother-in-law was unhappy. Have you all seen Mian? I did. She's not in a good state. Maybe it's because of the baby. Jixin didn't think too much about it and answered whatever Qin Chu asked. Speaking of children, Bella nudged his arm, as if reminding him to be careful with his words and actions. After all, children were Qin Chu's sore spot. It's okay. Continue. Seeing their hesitation, Qin Chu waved his hand. Maybe it's because of the child, so sister is unhappy. She's not in a good mood at home. I don't dare to say too much. I'm afraid that the more I say, the more upset sister will be. After Jixin finished speaking, he lowered his head, seemingly a little guilty. His elder sister was so good to him. Whenever he had any problems, his elder sister would be the first to solve them. All these years, his elder sister had contributed both money and effort. But when his sister was in trouble, he couldn't help. That feeling of helplessness was indescribable. Bella, what about you? Qin Chu knew that Bella's EQ had always been higher than Jixin's. It was also one of the reasons why Huamin liked her very much. I think Sister Mian seems to be under a lot of pressure after coming back this time. She's been keeping something in her heart and hasn't told us. I hope, President Qin, you can spend more time with her when you have time and let her vent her frustrations. If she holds it in for too long, it's easy for her to get depression. Bella, do you think the current Mian is different from the old Mian? Qin Chu suddenly asked. Bella thought for a moment and slowly replied, I really don't see any difference. Maybe it's because of this incident. In terms of temperament, it seems a little different. Bella was right. People could look exactly the same, and even their voices and expressions could be imitated. However, temperament couldn't be imitated. It was something on a spiritual level. If it wasn't the person, it was difficult for others to imitate the essence. Qin Chu's eyes darkened after hearing this. Brother-in-law, did something happen to sister? No, I'm just asking. You guys can leave. Okay. Jixin walked in front. Before Bella left, she suddenly thought of something and turned around. All right, President Qin, there's one more thing. Chapter 41-45. Go ahead. Bella didn't speak directly but looked at Jixin, who was walking in front of her. Jixin, go back to the office. I need some time to report to President Qin. Jixin didn't doubt her words and took the elevator downstairs. Bella walked back to Qin Chu and told him about the strange things that had happened in the past few days. Qin Chu seemed to have a big reaction. Bella, who else did you tell about this? There's no one else. You and Sister Mian told me to do it, and I don't trust anyone else. Besides, Mom and Jixin wouldn't suspect Dad. Oh no, Jingda. So, other than you, I only told Sister Mian. You told Mian? Qin Chu seemed to be very nervous. The day before yesterday, when Sister Mian was in the company, I came to her office and she was there, so I told her. What did she say? Qin Chu seemed to care more about Huamin's opinion than Jingde. Sister Mian didn't say anything. She just said she knew. Bella, Qin Chu said solemnly. Yeah. From now on, don't tell Mian about this kind of thing, or anything about Jingde. Just report it to me. Huh? Qin Chu's words showed that he didn't trust Huamin. Bella was closer to Huamin and couldn't accept Qin Chu's words. Qin Chu seemed to see Bella's doubts. Therefore, he explained, Mian hasn't been in a good mental state recently. I hope she can rest well and not be distracted by other things. If you tell her this, she won't be able to eat or sleep well and will be anxious. Leave this matter to me, if you think I'm trustworthy. President Qin, I understand. I trust you. I'll report it to you directly. Okay. Qin Chu nodded. Bella, you have to be careful. Keep an eye on them. Tell Mom and Jixin to be careful too. President Qin, who on earth is Jingde? Have we found any clues? This matter is very complicated. I'll tell you about it when I have the chance. Anyway, you have to be careful. I will. You may leave. All right. After Bella left, Qin Chu didn't have time to think. He immediately called Gao Ran from the municipal bureau. Chu, are you calling me at this hour to treat me to lunch? Indeed. You picked the place. Really? Gao Ran was still a little flattered. Although Qin Chu was famous for his wealth, there weren't many opportunities for him to take the initiative to treat others to a meal. Among his friends, perhaps only Rick and Gao Ran were worthy of his attention. How about Sichuan Restaurant's hot pot? It's been snowing recently and the weather is too cold, so I want to eat something warm. All right, I'll see you in half an hour. Qin Chu put on a black jacket and walked out. President Qin, are you going out? Yeah. What about the marketing department meeting later? Ask Jixin to do it. Okay. I'll inform Director Jing. Yang immediately did as he was told. Qin Chu went downstairs and drove his black Bentley to Sichuan Restaurant. When Qin Chu arrived, Gao Ran was already there. He was waiting in the private room and had ordered a lot of meat. You said you'd treat me today, right? I won't stand on ceremony. Gao Ran flipped through the menu. Qin Chu pressed down on his menu with one hand and said in a low voice, Old Gao, I think I know. Who's the murderer you guys are trying to catch? Stop messing around. The sudden news made Gao Ran's scalp tingle. Chapter 41-46. I've never joked with you about this kind of thing, Qin Chu said with a straight face. Gao Ran was too shocked to speak. 3 seconds later, Gao Ran came back to his senses and quickly closed the menu in his hand. Quick, tell me who the murderer is. I'm going crazy because of this mysterious murderer. There are rumors about vampires among the people. I was scolded by my boss at the meeting this morning. If I can't find the murderer, I'm going to lose my job as the director of the Municipal Public Security Bureau. Gao Ran had been thinking about the case day and night. He had read a lot of files and investigated a lot of people, but to no avail. Now that Qin Chu said he knew who the murderer was, he felt like he was grasping at a life-saving straw. Sit down first. I'll tell you slowly. Excited, Gao Ran sat beside Qin Chu around a copper hot pot, but they weren't in the mood to eat. He was analyzing the whole thing from the beginning to the end. Qin Chu told Gao Ran about Jingde in detail and combined it with what Bella had seen and heard in the neighborhood. Gao Ran was shocked when he finished. Chu, now that you mention it, I've been wondering why the neighborhood where the missing children lived was so familiar. Now it seems I'm right. They're all from Sky Blessing Court, the neighborhood where your mother-in-law lives. If what you said is true, then Jingde, who came back from the dead, is horrifying. He's extremely cruel. Not only did he kill cats and dogs, but he also killed children, yes. I always thought he was not a law-abiding person. That's why I asked Bella to keep an eye on him. But the most troublesome thing is that we don't have any evidence. You police officers need evidence to arrest people, right? Yes, but it doesn't matter. As long as he did it, he must have left some traces. I'll ask someone to check his recent whereabouts, check all the surveillance records in their community, check Jingde's call records, or who he has met, or whether he had any conflicts or quarrels with the parents of the missing children. If I'm right, you won't find anything, Xianxia said faintly. But Jing Dai is good at anti-surveillance. He was able to appear on the road in broad daylight without being caught on camera. That's why you won't find anything if you check the surveillance cameras. If you put it that way, then we won't have a chance to catch him. We can only watch him get away with it? Gao Ran was so angry that he wanted to slam the table and curse. Those missing children had not been found, and he had already guessed the outcome. After working as a police officer for so many years, if the kidnappers didn't want ransom and were willing to keep them alive, most of the missing children would have been killed. As the child's father, Gao Ran blamed himself in his heart, but he also had a sense of mission. As long as he could catch this pervert, it didn't matter even if he was injured. Therefore, when he heard Xianxia say that there might not be any evidence to arrest him, his anger seemed to have reached its peak. That's not it. I'm here today to discuss with you how to catch him. Besides, there may be some dangers in the process. Judging from the way he committed the crime, Jing Da is not a simple man. We must make a careful plan. Chu, do you think those missing children are still alive if they were caught by him? Gao Ran asked Xianxia worriedly. Chapter 41-47. Why are you asking me? Don't you already know the answer? After all, they had been buddies for years and Xianxia immediately saw through Gao Ran's thoughts. I just want to hold on to the last glimmer of hope. Gao Ran lowered his head, feeling very sad. Face the reality. Just by looking at the cats and dogs he killed, I know there's no hope for those kids. We just need to find the bodies. Xianxia knew it was cruel, but it was the most likely possibility. Jing Da wouldn't kidnap the kids just to put them under house arrest. Although they didn't know his motive, it was obvious that he was a violent psychopath. Bella saw him sneaking around the kitchen in the middle of the night, but she didn't find out what he was doing. But Xianxia felt that he must have a secret. Since the moment Jing Da came back from the dead, Xianxia and Huamin had been suspicious of him and were wary of him. Now, he finally couldn't hold back and made a move on the other side. Huamin, who had been hanging out all day, went straight to school in the afternoon. He greeted the teacher in advance and picked up the twins. Then, he took them to a dessert shop to eat. Mommy, you're so nice today. Little Bean ate the blueberry cheesecake with satisfaction in her eyes. If you like it, I'll bring you here often. Mommy, you don't want us to eat too much cake, right? You're afraid we'll have tooth decay, Little Bean asked weakly. Pudding put a piece of red velvet cake in front of her, but she didn't eat it. Huamian smiled without batting an eyelid. I've been reflecting on myself. I was too strict with you two in the past. You're both kids, isn't it normal for you to like cakes, candy, and chocolate? So, I don't want to be so strict anymore. I'll be more lenient with you two in the future. Wow, Mommy, you're the best. With cream on her lips, Little Bean didn't forget to kiss her mommy's cheek. Huamin immediately raised his hand and wiped it off without leaving a trace. Pudding saw all of this. Pudding, why aren't you eating? Is it not good? But I'm afraid of getting fat. Think too much. How old are you? You won't get fat. Come, Mommy will feed you a small bite. Huamin picked up the red velvet cake, scooped a little with a spoon, and put it next to Pudding's lips. Mommy, are you using BV perfume today? You can smell it? Huamin was slightly stunned. Today, when she was buying perfume with Su Yu, the salesperson gave it a try. She liked the smell very much, so she bought 3 bottles of the same perfume. Of course, these were all paid for by Su Yu. Mommy, Big Sis knows a lot about perfumes. Did you forget that she made a perfume for you on Goddess Day? Of course I remember. Is it jasmine scented? Huamin tried his best to search for the information in his brain, and it matched with the information of Little Bean and Pudding. Yeah, it's jasmine. I like the smell of flowers too, Little Bean exclaimed as she ate the cake happily. Pudding, on the other hand, looked a little preoccupied. Mommy, you didn't like BV perfume before. You said it smelled weird and smelled like Chinese herbs. Maybe it's because I got sick, so my taste changed a lot. I went shopping today and the salesperson gave it to me. I think it's not bad. Huamin found an excuse to brush off the kids. She thought kids were easy to fool with a few words. Of course, she didn't notice the unfamiliarity in Pudding's eyes. "Mommy, have you seen Auntie lately?" Pudding stared into Huamin's eyes and suddenly asked. Chapter 41-48. No. But didn't Daddy go with Auntie to save you and Handsome Sue? Why didn't Auntie come back when you guys came back? Well, your auntie left because she had something to do. Can you call Auntie? I miss her very much. Pudding continued to make things difficult for her mother. She didn't know if she did it on purpose or not. Huamin or Layla thought it would be easy to deal with these stupid people, but they were troubled by a 3-year-old child. Yeah, Mommy, I miss Auntie too. At the mention of Lu Yen, Little Bean stopped eating the cake in her hand and yelled that she wanted to call Auntie. Huamin didn't dare to call Lu Yen because he knew Lu Yen couldn't pick up the phone right now. But Auntie is very busy. She told me not to call her. Be good. When Auntie is free, she'll come and see us. The twins were disappointed that they couldn't talk to Lu Yen. DK headquarters, how is it? Did you find anything? Yes. A young lady is having dessert on Shunha Road with Miss Pudding and Miss Little Bean. Only the 3 of them? Yes. Has she seen anyone else? No. Very good. Continue to keep an eye on him. Keep an eye on him. Yes, President Qin. Qin Chu already knew the whole conspiracy, so when he saw Huamin, or rather Layla, take his children to eat dessert, he felt uneasy. After all, she was a psychopathic demon. She was a constant threat to his daughter's safety. However, he didn't want to alert the enemy, because he knew the real Huamian must still be in their hands. And their children might still be alive. For this glimmer of hope, Qin Chu suppressed the urge to skin this demoness alive and continued to deal with her, trying to beat her at her own game. Yunnan border. Inside the spacious presidential suite, with his white shirt unbuttoned, Xiao Fei leaned against the big European-style bed in a decadent manner. After searching for so long, there were no clues at all. Not being able to find the person alive and not being able to find the corpse was the most terrifying outcome. Because he gave you hope, he let you down again and again. Xiao Fei used almost all his connections in the underworld. He had even used the means of a top hacker to hack into the official satellite positioning system. However, he still couldn't find any trace of Lu Yen, except for the pool of blood she left behind. He hadn't closed his eyes for a long time. Every time he closed his eyes, he would see Lu Yan's face. She had flirted with him on the plane, fooled around in the hotel suite, and spent Valentine's Day with him on the streets of Sea City. Lu Yan's every frown and smile was like a curse that made him restless. Where are you? Young Master Qiao. There was a knock on the door. Come in. Young Master Qiao, something happened at the branch. What is it? Someone started the instigation, saying that the boss is dead and is going to defect from the organization. There are also people who want to split the boss's money in the Swiss bank. They even want to attack the headquarters and steal the secret information that the boss has collected over the years. Where's the instigation leader? In the South American branch in Rio de Janeiro. I suspect they've contacted our archenemy. Seeing that something happened to the boss, they're going to run away. Is there any movement at the headquarters? Not yet. Prepare the plane. I'm going. Young Master Qiao, only our boss's fingerprints can be found in the secret vault of the headquarters. I'm afraid you'll... Chapter 41-49. I have the authorization. These simple words shocked Lu Yan's loyal subordinates. When did Boss Lu Yan give young Master Qiao the authorization to access the secret vault of the headquarters? My goodness! What kind of trust was this? Hearing this, the subordinates felt their blood boil. Xiao Fei gave up on the search and took a private jet to Lu Yan's headquarters. Lu Yan's headquarters was on an island in the Pacific Ocean. In the past few years, no one but Xiao Fei had come here. Xiao Fei rarely came here. After all, this was Lu Yan's private place. The headquarters seemed to have received the news that Lu Yan was dead. Everyone was in a panic. After all, if Lu Yan died, the mercenary group would be leaderless. With so many enemies, they would be vulnerable. Xiao Fei's timely appearance was like a lifesaver. The night Xiao Fei arrived at the headquarters, a banquet was held and all of Lu Yan's subordinates attended. Outside the palace by the sea, it was a long dining table with a white tablecloth and expensive red wine. Top steak, foie gras, baked snails with cheese, and other exquisite dishes were placed neatly on the table. Those who didn't know would think it was a state banquet. Lu Yan's subordinates sat on both sides of the table. Xiao Fei didn't wear a Russian military uniform. Instead, he wore the classic uniform of Lu Yan's mercenary group. He was wearing a black windbreaker. In the night, his silver hair was even more dazzling. When Xiao Fei came, he was followed by two of Lu Yan's trusted subordinates. Young Master Xiao. Seeing Xiao Fei come over, the subordinates all stood up to greet him to show their respect. Sit down, everyone. Xiao Fei waved his hand and asked them to sit down. Then he slowly picked up the red wine and poured himself a small glass. This is really a great place. I heard that Yen spent 3.5 years to build this place, from the design to the actual construction. Yes, young Master Xiao. This is our boss life's work, one of the subordinates said. Xiao Fei nodded and picked up the red wine. Come, the weather is good today. Let's have a drink. Hearing this, everyone picked up their glasses and said in unison, to young Master Xiao. After drinking the red wine, Xiao Fei smiled. Don't be nervous. Let's eat and talk. Then he raised his knife and fork and began to elegantly eat the steak. No one knew what he was up to, but no one dared to disobey his orders. After all, he was the only man who had Lu Yan's authorization password. After eating a few mouthfuls, the atmosphere became less tense. Xiao Fei looked around and spoke slowly. I'm sure you've already heard the rumors. Everyone says that something happened to Xiao Yan in Yunnan and she's dead. The expressions of the dozen or so subordinates immediately changed. Someone couldn't help but ask, Young Master Xiao, what happened to our boss? You're the person closest to her. You must know where she is. To be honest, I don't know. Xiao Fei's answer surprised everyone. How could that be? Oh my God. Did something really happen to our boss? Yes, young Master Xiao, is our boss really dead? How could boss do that? She's so skilled. Who did it? I'm going to take revenge for my boss. I'm going to blow those bastards up. The scene instantly became chaotic. Some spoke Chinese, some spoke English, and some even spoke Spanish. If Xiao Yan is really dead, what are you going to do? Xiao Fei continued to eat his steak slowly and asked them with his head lowered. Instantly, everyone fell silent. It was a difficult question to answer. Chapter 4150. Then we'll avenge our boss. Yeah, we'll kill the person who killed our boss. What happens after you get your revenge? Xiao Fei asked slowly. Once again, the room fell silent. Seeing that they couldn't answer, Xiao Fei slowly stood up and placed his hands on the table. His cold gaze swept over everyone. I will wait for her to come back until she comes back. Before she comes back, everyone must listen to my orders. My presence is equivalent to Yan's presence. Your salary and benefits will remain the same. Of course, if you don't want to and feel that the future isn't good enough, you can take the opportunity to leave. I won't make things difficult for you and will give you a pension. But you have to know that you've made a lot of enemies over the years. Once you leave, there will be no one to protect you. Think about the pros and cons. I won't force you. I only have one goal, and that is to protect Yan's life's work. After Xiao Fei finished speaking, the room was in an uproar. Young Master Xiao, you want to take over our organization? What? Is there anyone who doesn't like it? Xiao Fei sat back in his chair, his expression calm. No, that's not what I meant. It's just that you're a member of the Xiao family. I heard that your eldest brother, Xiao Imo, cut ties with the family and your second brother, Xiao Nan, mysteriously disappeared in Thailand. There's also a rumor that you'll take over the family after the new year, so this person's meaning was obvious. In other words, Xiao Fei was the head of the Xiao family. If he took over the family, how could he take over the organization? This was against the rules of the underworld. How could Xiao Fei not understand this obvious meaning? He just chuckled. To me, nothing is more important than yen. I don't care about the position of the head of the family. If I didn't want to wait for yen, I wouldn't be interested in your organization. But I have to protect my woman. I'll say it again, you're free to come and go. But there's one thing, if you choose to leave now, you can't come back whether Lu Yen comes back or not, because I don't like people who don't stand firm. The dozen or so people present looked at each other. They weren't idiots. Since Xiao Fei was authorized by Lu Yen, they didn't dare to underestimate him. So, in the end, the dozen people knelt on one knee and bowed. I'm willing to continue to serve young Master Qiao, just as I serve Queen Lu Yen. Xiao Fei nodded in satisfaction after seeing their attitude. After the dinner party, he returned to Lu Yan's bedroom. Who would have thought that the all-powerful female demon king was actually a little princess in her heart? Lu Yan's bedroom was a pink princess room. It was really dreamy. The room was filled with light pink, and all the dolls were pink Hello Kitty. There were a few potted plants on the windowsill. They were extremely cute. It was obvious that they had been carefully cared for. The little Daisy looked even more petite and cute under the setting sun. Which girl didn't want to be a princess and live a carefree life? But fate was different. Lu Yen didn't want to be a killer or a mercenary, but sometimes she couldn't choose her own path. Standing in Lu Yan's study, Xiao Fei picked up a photo from the bedside table. His gaze was extremely gentle. Chapter 4151. It was a photo of Lu Yen on her 6th birthday. In the photo, Lu Yen was wearing a white gauze dress with 2 braids. There was also a red dot between her eyebrows. She was holding a big apple in her hand. Her smile was very sweet. The photo was taken by the professor. The background was a small town in Denmark. At that time, Lu Yen must have lived a carefree life with her father. If she could turn back time, she might prefer the peaceful life in the past. Xiao Fei took out the photo. He closed his eyes and kissed Lu Yan's childhood photo deeply. I'll wait here for you to come back. I'll wait until you come back. Young Master Qiao, the reactionary government of Syria sent an order. They need 10 people to participate in the war, 3 days, $300 million. I'm not taking it. $300 million isn't a small amount. We can send 10 people, the person said. Xiao Fei suddenly turned around. Your boss has trained you for many years, not to send you to your deaths. We have never participated in the war, and we will in the future. Remember, this is my rule. Yes, young Master Qiao. No one expected the new boss to have such a strong attitude and aura even though he didn't talk much. The key was that he had been with Lu Yen for too long and knew her personality and tricks too well. Although Lu Yen loved money, she wouldn't accept any order. She accepted the terrorists because she had a grudge against Ian and the others. But she would never participate in the war. After all, one had to know their limits. Xiao Fei believed that if Lu Yen was here, she would deal with it the same way. On the other side of the earth, in the distant underwater palace, to put it bluntly, the dark blue refrigerator was a huge transparent 3-dimensional crystal coffin. The outside was made of crystal, and the inside was a mysterious blue potion. It was said that people were put in when they were asleep or unconscious. They would stay in that state just like faking death. They wouldn't get sick or age, just like Sleeping Beauty. Lu Yen didn't know how long she had been in there. Her subconscious was spinning in her body, as if she was locked somewhere and couldn't move. She seemed to have a dream. She dreamed of a cold place with walls everywhere. There were no doors or windows. She wanted to escape, but she didn't have the strength. She was trapped helplessly in place. Dad? Sister? Fei? I miss you so much. I miss you so much. Lu Yen screamed in her heart, but she couldn't make a sound. Sea City, China Sky Blessing Court. Yang Merong made a lot of dumplings for dinner. The family of 4 sat together for dinner. I also packed some and froze them. Jixin, I'll cook them tomorrow morning and put them in a thermos. I heard that your sister will be going to the company soon, so you can give them to her. She loves celery and pork. That's too much trouble, Mom. My sister can eat anything. Even if you have money, you can't taste my cooking. What do you know? Yeah, you're right. Okay, I'll bring it to her tomorrow morning. Jixin looked down at the news on his phone. Bella, you and Jixin shouldn't be so busy. Although work is important, you're not young anymore. You need to think about your children. I can help you take care of them while I'm still young. I know, Mom. Bella was already used to her mother-in-law's urging, so her expression was very calm. Mom, have you found the missing children in our neighborhood? Bella didn't know if the question was intentional or not. She glanced at Jingda's face and saw that he looked a little unnatural. Chapter 4152. I don't think so. Speaking of which, it's strange. How did the kids disappear all of a sudden? The police have been here several times, asking about this and that. I don't know if they were targeted by kidnappers. Rich people's neighborhoods aren't safe. Yang Merong didn't seem to notice anything and was just chatting. Bella didn't say anything, but she saw that Jingda's expression was indeed different from usual. But after you came back, you rarely went out. How about I sign up your mom for a tour? You can go on a trip with her. Jixin was very filial. Ever since Jingda came back, he had been calling him Dad. She called him very affectionately and would often buy new clothes and shoes for this father of hers. However, Bella felt that Jingda's attitude toward Jixin wasn't very affectionate. Compared to her mother-in-law's caring attitude toward her children, Jingda was still lacking. No, I don't want to go anywhere. Jixin, your dad hasn't gotten used to our family's financial situation. He just doesn't want to spend money. We appreciate your filial piety, but we won't go on a trip. I've been thinking about taking you back to our hometown when your sister gets better. Why would we go back there? To see that heartless uncle and that shameless cousin? At the mention of his relatives in his hometown, Jixin's face was full of disdain. He remembered that a long time ago, he allowed them to come to his house for the sake of their relatives. But what they did was inhumane. Jixin held grudges and wasn't as forgiving as Humin. So, when he heard that his mother was going back to their hometown, Jixin was angry. No, your uncle is so heartless. I won't talk to them. I'm going back to visit your grandparents' graves. It's almost New Year, right? That's fine. I'll tell Sis when I see her tomorrow. After dinner, Jixin and Bella went upstairs. Jingda and Yang Merong were downstairs watching TV as usual. Midnight, Bella tossed and turned, unable to sleep. During the day, she told Qin Chu about what happened. She recalled that her brother-in-law seemed to have a big reaction. Could it be that this Jingda was hiding some secrets? Those missing kids. Did he take them away with his own hands? The more she thought about it, the more she couldn't sleep. She got up to drink a glass of water. But when she got up and picked up the glass, she saw a shadow. Then he saw a figure flash by downstairs. Under the moonlight, Bella could see the man's figure clearly. She was sure that it was Jingda. She wanted to ask Jixin to come along, but Jixin trusted his father too much. Bella was afraid that Jixin would lose control and be agitated if he saw something he shouldn't. Therefore, after thinking about it, she secretly put on her clothes and quietly went downstairs to follow him. She didn't forget to send a message to Qin Chu, President Qin, that person is making a move. I plan to follow him and take a look. If everything goes well, I think I'll be able to discover his secret soon. To be on the safe side, we can't call the police for now to avoid alerting the enemy. You just need to know my whereabouts. Don't. It's dangerous. Qin Chu quickly replied, but there was no reply for a long time. He then called Bella, but no one picked up. Qin Chu suddenly had a bad feeling. After he left the company, he drove straight to Blessed Heavenly Garden. Bella had put her phone on silent when she was sleeping and forgot to turn it back on, so she didn't notice it was in her pocket. Instead, she was attracted by the sneaky Jingda not far from her. Bella quietly followed Jingda all the way to a piece of undeveloped land behind Blessed Heavenly Garden. Jingda walked quickly as if he was in a hurry to go somewhere. Following him, Bella felt that she was getting closer and closer to the truth. Chapter 4153. When Bella thought she was getting closer and closer to the truth, she felt a sharp pain in the back of her head. Then, something warm flowed down her back. She turned her head with difficulty and saw Jingda's expressionless face. Then, she slowly fell to the ground. Jingda had been here for a long time and hadn't planned to do anything to his family. However, Bella seemed to have been suspicious of him, and her words were targeted at him. More importantly, he received the young master's order to get rid of this woman. That was the reason for tonight's trap. Bella didn't know it was a trap and thought she could follow Jingda to find the missing children. But, when Qianchu arrived, he knocked on the door of Sky Blessing Court. Yang Meirong opened the door with a jacket on. She was surprised to see her son-in-law so late at night. "Chu, why are you here?" "I need to talk to Bella and Jixin." "Okay. It's cold outside. Come in." Yang Meirong didn't seem to notice anything. She opened the door and let Qianchu into the living room. At this moment, Jingda walked out in thermal underwear. "Chu, you're here." Qianchu was surprised to see Jingda at home at this hour. Then, who was Bella following? Instantly, Qianchu felt a chill in his heart. It was even colder in the room than outside. He didn't speak to Jingda. Instead, he nodded and tried to be patient. Sure enough, only Jixin came downstairs with Yang Meirong. Bella wasn't there. "Brother-in-law, Jixin, where's Bella?" "I was about to tell you. Bella's gone. It's weird. She disappeared when I fell asleep. We were lying down together." Jixin was dumbfounded. He didn't realize his wife was gone until his mother woke him up. "Did you see Bella?" Qianchu looked at Jingda. "No. Xiao Rong and I went back to our room after watching TV. Your dad was with me the whole time. I'm sure he didn't see Bella." Yang Meirong trusted her husband and was willing to be his witness. "Jixin, take me to the security room. I want to see the surveillance footage." Finally, Jixin and Qianchu combined the surveillance cameras at home and in the neighborhood. Then he found Bella's description. However, Bella was the only one in the surveillance camera. No matter how hard he checked, there was no one suspicious in front or behind of Bella. Qianchu sucked in a cold breath. The captain of the security room asked, "Is this lady sleepwalking? What is she doing out alone in the middle of the night?" "That's impossible. My wife has been with me for so long. I know best whether or not she sleepwalks. Drive back. I want to see where she went." Qianchu was anxious. He asked the security guard to drag Bella to the back. He saw Bella walking towards the wasteland behind the residential area. Without another word, Qianchu pulled Jixin into the car, and the two of them headed towards the wasteland. Finally, in the wasteland of ice and snow, he found the unconscious Bella, and there was blood all over her head. Jixin's face turned as pale as ash. "Honey, what happened to you?" "Oh my God, how did this happen?" Jixin couldn't accept the fact. He was dumbfounded. Qianchu didn't dare to say more. He and Jixin carried Bella to the car and drove her to the nearest first hospital. Soon, Yang Meirong and Jingda arrived. In the operating room of the first hospital, after waiting for more than an hour, the chief surgeon came out. "Who's her family?" "I'm her husband." Jixin stood up from the bench. "Your wife was attacked from behind. The back of her head is seriously injured. She needs a craniotomy immediately to clean up the blood clots." "Okay. But the surgery is risky. She might not be able to leave the operating table." Chapter 4154. What do you mean she can't get off the operating table? Jixin was dumbfounded, not expecting the situation to be so serious. Qianchu, on the other hand, looked calm as if he had expected this outcome. "Doctor, what do you mean she can't get off the operating table? What's wrong with my daughter-in-law? Is her life in danger?" Yang Meirong grabbed the doctor's hand and questioned him. "Family members, please calm down. We will definitely do our best, but this patient's injuries are indeed very serious. We really don't have the confidence." Before the doctor could finish speaking, Qianchu walked over to him. "Let me do it." The doctor was dumbfounded. "I'm the husband of Southside's vice director. I've done surgeries here before. You can check it out? If you don't believe me, you can call President Wu. I can do the surgery for my family. We'll bear the consequences." The doctor didn't know how to answer, but saving lives was more important. Fortunately, some of the medical staff recognized Qin Chu and told him to get ready to enter the operating room. Jixin, Yang Meirong, and Jingde stood outside the door, not knowing what to do. Jixin was inexperienced and didn't know how to deal with emergencies. He only knew that if something happened to Bella, he wouldn't know what to do. He would be devastated. Everyone was so sad that no one noticed that Jingde's expression was unnatural. He found it very strange. He had clearly done it according to the requirements of the higher-ups, but after he was done, he actually felt a little guilty. Was it because he had grown attached to this family? Did he really think of himself as the real Jingde? Why did he feel so conflicted? He didn't feel so guilty when he killed other people, including those children. He should have been happy when he heard that Bella might not wake up, but he couldn't bring himself to smile. If Bella woke up, then he was done for, right? After all, Bella would tell everyone the truth. Standing beside Yang Meirong, Jingde didn't know what to do. Now that Huamian was in Sea City, he had to follow her instructions. At this thought, Jingde glanced at Jixin. Jixin, do you want to tell your sister about this? I don't think so. My sister hasn't been in a good mood lately. I don't want her to worry anymore. Let's wait until my brother-in-law finishes his surgery. Jixin was sincerely thinking for his sister, so he didn't want to tell Huamin. Yang Meirong nodded as well. Jixin is right. Mian can't even take care of herself. Let's not tell her for now. Otherwise, she won't be able to do anything even after half a year. Besides, she's weak now. We can't let her get sick in the future. Qin Chu had not performed surgery for a long time, but his skills were not rusty. He was very careful as he helped Bella clean up the blood clot at the back of her head. The operation lasted for more than 2 hours. In the end, Qin Chu walked out of the operating room, exhausted. Brother-in-law, how is it? It's done. The surgery went well, but it's hard to say when Bella will wake up. Jixin's eyes dimmed again. This wasn't good news. What did it mean that Bella was going to wake up? Was she in a vegetative state? What will happen to Bella? Yang Meirong's eyes were red from crying. It's very possible. Qin Chu glanced at Jingde behind Yang Meirong. Not daring to look at Qin Chu, Jingde lowered his head, obviously feeling guilty. Chapter 4155. Brother-in-law, what do you mean? Jixin looked at Qin Chu with hope in his eyes. She's probably in a vegetative state. Qin Chu's words made Jixin and Yang Meirong burst into tears again. Uncle Jing, you seem to have something on your mind. Qin Chu glared at Jingde and asked. I'm just worried about Bella. I don't want anything to happen to her, Jingde explained in a panic. Really? Qin Chu sneered and followed the nurse to change out of his surgical gown. Walking out of the sterilization room, Qin Chu called Gao Ran. He briefly told him what had happened. This guy is so cunning that he can fake the surveillance footage? It's not fake. An advanced hacker helped him erase the footage of him without leaving a trace. We can't find any evidence that he harmed Bella. Then what should we do? Are we just going to let them do whatever they want? Ever since Gao Ran learned that Jingde might be the murderer of those children, he hated this man very much. Of course not. If the law can't punish him, then I'll use my own way. Chu, don't tell me you want to. Hearing Qin Chu's tone, Gao Ran's heart sank. It's okay. Leave it to me. Maybe I can help you find out where those innocent children are. Wait for my news. Before Gao Ran could speak, Qin Chu hung up. Gao Ran panicked. Chu, don't do anything rash. Let's talk about it together. No matter how hard Gao Ran tried to persuade him, Qin Chu wouldn't listen. Qin Chu had a text message from Bella, but it wasn't enough evidence. After all, as long as Jingde insisted that he hadn't seen Bella and that Yang Meirong was his witness, the police wouldn't do anything to him. But Bella was lying in the ICU for real. Brother-in-law, seeing Qin Chu walk out, Jixin hurried forward. Don't cry. It's okay. I believe that Bella will wake up. Yes, when she wakes up, we'll know who did this to her. I'm going to beat that bastard into a pulp. Jixin clenched his fists tightly. Jingde's face changed again. Qin Chu looked into Jingde's eyes and emphasized every word. When Bella wakes up, we'll know the truth. Then we won't let go of the person who hurt her. Chu, you must be tired from the surgery. Go back and rest. Jixin and I will stay here and watch over you. Yang Mirong felt sorry for Qin Chu and advised him to go back and rest. Mom, why don't you and Jixin go home first? Change your clothes and pack some things. Come back tomorrow to take care of Bella. I've assigned a nurse to watch over her tonight, and she'll be under observation in the ICU tonight. There's no point in you guys staying here. After Qin Chu finished speaking, Jixin and Yang Mirong left reluctantly. Jingde went with them. Late at night, in the ICU of the first hospital, a nurse checked all of Bella's data and found nothing unusual. Then she turned and left the ward. A man in black, who was wrapped up tightly, sneaked in quietly. In his hand was a magnetic card for the ICU that he had stolen from who knows where. Then he slowly walked to Bella's bedside. If he reached out and cut off the oxygen tube, Bella might never wake up again. He reached out his trembling hand to remove the oxygen tube. Suddenly, he felt numbness on his back and then he lost consciousness. Chapter 4156. When Jingde woke up again, he found himself in a rundown factory. His entire body was tied tightly with ropes. They were very tight and sturdy. Across from him, Qin Chu leaned against the wall, smoking a cigarette. On a cold night like this, Qin Chu only wore a black long-sleeved shirt. The diamonds inlaid on the cuffs glittered in the dark night. His head was lowered, and no one knew what he was thinking. He held a cigarette in his right hand. His long and slender fingers were also exceptionally beautiful. Huamin had complained that her husband's hands were more beautiful and delicate than hers. How did you? Jingde said weakly. Shut your mouth. Qin Chu looked up, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. Did he deserve to be called Chu? If he was the real Uncle Jing, he could. But this man wasn't the real Uncle Jing. He was a monster from somewhere. Why did you bring me here? Jingde pretended to be confused and smiled foolishly. Those who didn't know him would be fooled by him. But who was Qin Chu? If he hadn't attacked Bella so quickly, Qin Chu wouldn't have forgiven him so quickly. He wanted to see him continue acting, but obviously, he had started to attack his family. This time, it was Bella. Next time, it would be Jixin or his mother-in-law. Qin Chu would never allow such a tragedy to happen. Do you think I don't know what you did to Bella? Qin Chu looked at Jingde and questioned him word by word. Jingde pretended to be surprised. What are you talking about? I don't understand. You got the wrong person? How could I hurt Bella? She's Jixin's wife. Of course, Uncle Jing wouldn't hurt her. But, you're not him. Chu, are you kidding me? I don't joke with my enemies. Qin Chu threw the unfinished cigarette to the ground and stomped on it with all his might. Then he pressed his face against Jingde's face. Stop pretending. I didn't believe you were Jingde since the first day you came back. You can test my DNA if you don't believe me, Jingde said confidently. This was also the most cunning part of him. When he said this, Qin Chu was even more certain of his conjecture. Back then, Huamin stole his hair and did a DNA comparison with Jixin's. In the end, he actually admitted that they were father and son. This was ridiculous. After all, Huamin knew that Uncle Jing had indeed died many years ago. He died in a car accident and was later buried. A person who had been dead for more than 10 years had suddenly returned and lied about being reborn. This scene was as melodramatic as a novel. Because Jixin and Yang Mirong missed Jingde dearly, they might be temporarily fooled. But Qin Chu and Huamin's eyes were sharp. The moment Jingde came back, they had been on guard. Although I don't know how you managed to make your DNA match Uncle Jing's, you're definitely not him. So, if I ask you anything, you'd better answer honestly. Otherwise, I won't go easy on you. A dagger suddenly appeared in Qin Chu's hand. Although it was small, it looked extremely sharp. How about this? Let's play a game. I'll ask you a question. If your answer doesn't satisfy me, I'll stab you. But don't worry, I'm a medical student. I won't kill you. Even if I stab you hundreds of holes, you won't die immediately. You'll just slowly endure the torture. You don't know anything. Jingde suddenly laughed, but it was a weird laugh. At this moment he finally stopped arguing that he was Jingde. Chapter 4157. Let's not waste time. Let's begin. Then, Chu looked at the fake Jingde and asked, "First question, who are you?" I really don't know who I am. Obviously, Chu wasn't satisfied with the answer. Holding the hilt of the knife, he stabbed it into Jingde's ribs. The stab was accurate and ruthless. Jingde grunted in pain, probably because of the pain. But Chu didn't pull out the knife. Instead, he continued to ask, "Second question, who is your master?" "You don't deserve to know my master." Jingde laughed. His laughter was very arrogant, which was totally different from his usual simple and honest character. It was as if he had become another person. Sighing slightly, Chu grabbed the hilt of the knife and pulled it out abruptly. Before Jingde could catch his breath, Chu stabbed him again. It was the same spot. It was obvious how painful the stab was. Finally, Jingde couldn't help but cry out. "I advise you to tell me the truth if you don't want to suffer." When did you find out I'm a fake Jingde?" The man looked at Chu and asked. "From the first day you came back." "That's impossible. I couldn't have exposed myself so quickly." He seemed to think that he had disguised himself very well, and his words were also quite good. At least, Yang Merong and Jixin believed him. "You were able to show up near the Civil Affairs Bureau and let Jixin see you, but you were able to avoid so many surveillance cameras? So, I don't believe you're an honest Uncle Jing. Uncle Jing doesn't even know how many surveillance cameras there are at the intersection. But, you're obviously not. So that's why you're suspicious. But didn't Huamin use my hair as a comparison? Can't you believe me after comparing my DNA? So you knew Mion took your hair." Chu gasped. "Of course. I left my hair for her to use as a comparison to gain her trust." Jingde looked smug. "Unfortunately, we became more suspicious of you after we got the test report." "Why?" "Because we don't believe that individuals can be resurrected, especially those who have been dead for so many years. This is not scientific." "Science? You want to talk to me about science? Let me tell you. There are many things in this world that science can't explain, so kid, don't believe in science, really." This person spoke inexplicably. Chu had a feeling that he might not be able to get anything out of him. Because he did not seem to be afraid of anything. "Did you kill the cats and dogs in the neighborhood?" Chu changed to an unimportant question and didn't press her further. "Not only the cats and dogs, but the children as well." Jingde smiled ferociously. Thinking of those children, Chu feels sad because Jingde has admitted it himself. As a parent, he can always understand the deep love for children. "Because of my food. I can't be like you guys and eat these disgusting dishes." "You ate them?" Chu felt his heart sink again. "You could say that. Anyway, they're dead. Where are the bodies? Are you helping your police friends solve the case?" Jingde looked at Chu with a provocative smile. Chu didn't speak. Jingde continued. "They're in the artificial lake in the neighborhood." Chu knew those children were dead, but hearing Jingde admit it still saddened him. "Would you believe me if I told you I'm a vampire?" Jingde asked Chu. Chapter 4158. Before Chu could speak, Jingde laughed and said, "Why don't you use crosses or garlic against me?" "Stop pretending. You're not a vampire at all. I'm a medical student. I've already analyzed your body structure. You're just an ordinary human genetic structure. Don't pretend to be a vampire. You killed the children and cats because you're a psychopathic killer, right? You can think of it that way. I also think I'm a monster." "Do you have friends here?" Chu asked. Jingde's eyes flickered. "I won't tell you." "Does that mean you're really pregnant?" Chu raised his eyebrows. If you think so, you can find them yourself. But I promise you'll never find them even if you search for them for the rest of your life." "I don't think so. Why did you come back to Sky Blessing Court and pretend to be Jingde?" Qin Chu asked again. Then he pulled the dagger out of Jingda's body, blood gushed out, and it was scary. My purpose is to reunite your family. Jingda chuckled. Seeing how dishonest he was, Qin Chu stabbed him again. This time, he stabbed him in the thigh. It was very deep. Kid, even if you cut off my flesh piece by piece tonight, I won't tell you everything you want to know. You think you're very smart, but this time, you'll just be a silly kid who's being played around by others. Huh? Everything? What do you mean? You mean my Mian has been replaced? Qin Chu's voice was calm, but Jingda's face turned ashen. With his mouth wide open, he looked at Qin Chu in disbelief. How could you? It's impossible. It's impossible. How did you know? No matter how stupid I am, do you think I can't recognize my wife? But she looks exactly the same. Exactly the same. Even our master said that she looks exactly the same. Jingda repeated the words mechanically as if Qin Chu knew the Huamin beside him was a fake, which shocked him greatly. Who's your master? Qin Chu took the opportunity to ask. Our master? Our master is a god. She's a god. The god who created us. At the mention of his master, Jingda's eyes were full of admiration. Qin Chu wasn't sure if he was telling the truth or talking nonsense. Tell me, where's my Mian? Who's this guy beside me? Qin Chu pulled out the dagger abruptly and cut Jingda's aorta. This time, the blood's blood, as if he was a pig. The mud on the ground was stained with blood. You can't find her. You'll never find her. Hua Mian will never come back. Our master won't let her come back. The one beside you, she's a big surprise. A surprise for your whole family. Upset, Qin Chu stabbed Jingda's other thigh again. He was in so much pain that his brows were tightly knitted together. Qin Chu, it's useless to kill me. I'm just a small soldier. My master won't change her plan because of my death. But if you kill me, you'll enrage her. You'll never see your wife again. Your wife will never come back. His words sounded like vicious curses, and Qin Chu's emotions were somewhat affected. Perhaps because he was angry, he suddenly pulled back the dagger, and the other aorta started to bleed very quickly. In less than a minute, Jingda's breath became weak. He seemed to be dying. One last question. Is my child still alive? Qin Chu knew he wouldn't get anything from Jingda, and he probably wouldn't tell him if he knew. Chapter 4159. Qin Chu didn't know that after all he had been through a lot. Was their child still alive in Mian's belly? In fact, he didn't dare to ask, but he still couldn't help it. After all, it was a little life they had been looking forward to for a long time. It carried a lot of hope for him and Mian. When Mian was 3 months old, she began to knit many handmade vests and belly bands for the baby. In fact, Qin Chu didn't have much hope. After all, this fake Jingda refused to say anything. Who would have thought that before this person breathed his last, he actually answered this question? Among so many questions, he was the only one who answered. Your child is still alive. After saying this, Jingda's head tilted, and he died completely. Qin Chu felt his breath and found that he was indeed dead. From the moment Bella died, he didn't want to let this cruel guy go. It was impossible to keep him alive. Gao Ran was a police officer, and everything he did was based on evidence. But Qin Chu didn't need to. He only knew that if anyone hurt the person he loved, he would not be able to live under the same sky as him. After Jingda died, Qin Chu didn't leave directly. Instead, he poured the gasoline he had prepared in advance. Then he lit the lighter and burned the fake Jingda's body to ashes. Qin Chu also used chemicals to clean up the remaining bones. He didn't do this because he hated this person. It was because Qin Chu felt that this person's genes were the same as Jingda's, and there was something fishy about it. He was afraid that if he didn't die completely, he would leave behind future troubles. It turned out that Qin Chu's way of dealing with it was right. Because only when the body was turned into ashes could it be at peace. Otherwise, it would only come back to life. After all, this was a strange organism. After killing Jingda, Qin Chu turned around and walked out. In fact, Killing Jingda wasn't considered murder in this city. According to the household register, Jingda died in a car accident many years ago. Therefore, Qin Chu only killed a person who shouldn't have existed. When Gao Ran found Qin Chu, he was already sitting in the corner of a small bar, drinking. Chu. Where is Jingda? You caught him? He's dead. Huh? Gao Ran's expression changed, but then he thought about it and realized that it was nothing. That's fine. Anyway, this person shouldn't exist in this world. Chu, those children, in the man-made lake in Sky Blessing Court. A man-made lake? After hearing this, Gao Ran's expression changed greatly. He hurriedly called his men. Hurry up and contact the salvage team. We'll salvage it overnight. Although they knew that the children were already dead, finding their bodies could be considered as an explanation to the children's parents. Chu, did you get anything out of him? No, he refused to say anything. Qin Chu poured himself a cup of wine and drank by himself. His mood seemed to be very depressed. Indeed, Jingda refused to say anything, so he still didn't know where Mian was. The only good news was that he knew that his children were still alive. Besides, the Huamin beside him was a fake. Qin Chu didn't want to tell anyone about this. He had a feeling that this Mian beside him must be more difficult to deal with than Jingda. So, he didn't want to alert the enemy. Somehow, Qin Chu had a feeling that someone had set up a trap, and he and Huamian were just pawns that could be manipulated by others. Now that Jingda is dead, how are you going to explain it to Jixin and your mother-in-law? Gao Ran thought of another serious problem. Chapter 4160. We can't tell them that Jingda is a psychopath who killed so many children, right? Of course not. Uncle Jing passed away many years ago. I don't want this person to ruin his reputation, Qin Chu said. Then what should we do? If you want to calm the panic, you can find a scapegoat. Otherwise, the rumor about vampires will cause social unrest. That's true. But it's not my style to find a scapegoat. It's so low. Gao Ran felt bad. Then do you dare to say that it was a person who died many years ago who killed them? I don't dare. So it's all the same. Qin Chu glanced at Gao Ran. It's easy for me to explain. What about you? What did Jixin and the others say? Just say that Uncle Jing passed away. Will they have a glimmer of hope in their hearts and wait for him to come back? Gao Ran guessed. It's better to have a glimmer of hope than to break it. Jixin and my mother-in-law are already very weak. They can't take a second blow. Let's do that. Anyway, if he's dead, he won't harm society in the future. Chu, I want to thank you on behalf of the thousands of police officers in our bureau. Thank you for getting rid of a dangerous person for us. Let's have a drink. In a bad mood, Qin Chu talked about the case with Gao Ran in the small bar for a while. Then he drove home. Huamin had returned to South Hill Manor. When Qin Chu came back, she was sitting in the living room watching TV. She seemed to be waiting for him. Honey, you're back? Qin Chu didn't say anything. He lowered his head and changed his shoes. Didn't you hear me talking to you? Qin Chu looked up at Huamin. Did you have a good chat with Suyu today? Are you spying on me? Huamin was furious. I don't need to monitor you. You didn't bring your wallet with you, and you bought so many luxuries. Other than Suyu, I can't think of anyone else who would pay for you. Hee, didn't I also want to see you jealous? This tells us. If you don't love your wife, old Wang next door will love her for you. In the face of Huamin's unreasonable provocation, Qin Chu only smiled coldly. Very good, then you can go to old Wang's house next door. Qin Chu, stop right there. Huamin shouted angrily. However, Qin Chu didn't seem to have any intention of stopping and continued to walk upstairs. She ran a few steps forward and blocked Qin Chu's path. What do you want? Shouldn't you apologize to me? I was so angry with you this morning that I ran out for the whole day. You didn't even call me once. Didn't you have a good day today? Qin Chu asked back. Qin Chu, if you don't like me, just say it. Don't be cold to me. I can't take it anymore. I just had a miscarriage. Do you have to treat me like this? Didn't I already give birth to 2 daughters for you? Are you still not satisfied? It has nothing to do with the children. Get out of my way. The more Qin Chu looked at this person, the more disgusted he felt. When he was in a good mood, he could beat her at her own game. When he was in a bad mood, he didn't want to see her. How could such a person be his Mion? I'm not moving. You have to apologize to me today and move back to our bedroom. Otherwise, I'll wake up Mom and Dad and let them be the judge. Mia, why do you seem like a different person? You were never like this before. Qin Chu deliberately looked at the woman in front of him. When she heard this, her expression changed slightly. She looked a little unnatural. You're tuning in to the Wang Lin's Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.